Welcome to CommTrack, where you'll never have to watch a movie alone again. I'm your host, Tim Leifheit, and we're back with another Marvel Movie of the Month with Mark. But this time, we're joined by our regular, Sean Wheeler. Hi, Sean. It's great to see you again, as always.
Yeah, happy to join for once.
Yeah, and hi, Mark. How you been, man? You've been... Well, we just actually saw you recently in the your Pepsi commercial, which was kind of a cool deal.
Yeah, probably right around now it should be running. If you're in the Kentucky, it's like Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana, whatever that tri-state ends up being. You should be able to catch me in a Kentucky lottery ad that's doing a good run. It should be running, I would assume, through, if you're not paying for ad-free Hulu, what's the other one? YouTube. That's the popular site. But that was a lot of fun because I got to work with the cheetah, so that was sweet.
That is fucking sweet. And, while we're here, why don't you do a quick little self-promo?
Sure. I'm a filmmaker and actor. Hire me for your stuff. Podcast creator, entrepreneur, business starter, self-starter, psychonaut, you name it. Go to The Marketing, like darkening, but with an M, themarketing.com. That'll let you follow my fun social media activities.
And if you guys want to check Mark out, as always, in any episode of Marvel Movie of the Month with Mark, there are links in the description below.
I love links, Tim.
And Sean, oh, dude, totally. And Sean, I know I think you used to write a blog. Is that correct?
I wrote for neverendingradicaldude.com.
Oh, hell yeah.
Which is on a hiatus right now. Not sure if we're coming back, but I can say now officially I am just starting up writing for the horror website Cryptease.
Congratulations.
Dope. That's awesome, man. I love it. We're recording right now in early October, but this is going to be out by the time you cats are listening in November. And for you cats listening, if you are just tired of just hearing us, jerking our promos around. If you want to get right to the movie, as always, there is a sync button in the description below that'll just tell you where the timestamp is to start the movie.
So you can wash all of your dishes.
But that said, I think we should actually talk about the movie. We're here, kind of the big starter, although that was kind of questionable after our last Marvel movie that we did, Mark. But we're here to talk about
Blade
the first
is
X-Men
he's
movie.
the appetizer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Blade was like the appetizer, but this movie was like the movie that really kicked off like the superhero genre as we know it today.
Sure.
And because I know you two are, both of you, because this is the whole reason why you wanted in on this episode, Sean, is because you are a huge X-Men fan, and you're like, oh, you're doing X-Men? I want in on this. So I want to hear you guys. So I didn't grow up as much of the X-Men as I probably should have. I did watch the animated TV show, but I want to hear about your guys' fan experience, if you will.
Sean, you want to go first?
So I started... Yeah, I'll jump right in. I started collecting comics when I was 8 years old. I found a Punisher comic at a grocery store and loved it, and then I got a subscription to Spider-Man. And shortly thereafter, this was about 1990. Shortly thereafter, the Chris Claremont, Jim Lee X-Men launched. And that kind of became my heyday.
Nice.
Loved those books. Loved everything that was going on with them. I mean, X-Men, X-Force, Uncanny X-Men, all that was running at that time. I was just steeped in it. Like everyone else at the time, obviously, we all had the DC dabble because Batman's back got broken and Superman got killed.
Yep.
But, literally, once those ended, my comic obsession for arguably, I'd say, about the next 5 to 6 years, I was pretty much all X-Men all the time and only dabbled in other stuff.
Oh,
dude. I guess I should say I did dabble a lot in independence, starting at about 13. But when it comes to mainstream books, it's like X-Men were my bread and butter, and I didn't really start branching out more until my later teens. So
Dudes.
for a very long time, I was just like the X-Men fanboy, like saving up my allowance and shore money to go buy classic issues from the 1970s. It's like that was my jam.
Fuck yeah, dude! I bet you were watching the animated series like nonstop.
Oh yeah, all the time. Like that was my go-to. And I mean, for me, at that time, I was in school and stuff at an age before being a nerd was cool, before geek culture like took off and was a thing that was appreciated.
When it was still kind of
it's like-
cool and underground.
No, it wasn't cool underground. You were ostracized and made fun of for it. So it's like I had to take my licks. And so finally getting to see my stuff on the big screen was like, yes!
Oh, dude,
I finally get something.
This shit you must have been at the perfect level of hype zone when this came out, I bet.
Oh yeah, I was 17 years old, had not stopped being into I mean, I was a hard issue collector for 20 years before I finally pulled back a bit and went mainly to trade. So it's like,
man.
I was the hunter collector, like, out of my mind.
You were
so,
the fucking
I mean, for me,
perfect age for that kind of shit, dude.
Yep.
That's awesome. And then Mark, I mean, you got a lot more years on your comics and your experience. So
I
why
actually
don't you share with us about
It's
that?
really funny. I think Sean and I might be the same age, judging from how old he was when X-Men the movie came out. So
Oh, really? Right
I
on.
feel like we both had that same like mind-blowing experience, dude. And so I was the same way. For me, I didn't have any gateway things because my parents weren't really into like nerdy shit at all. So, my dad was like a big baseball guy and just sort of sports in general. But I got into comics. I actually got into the X-Men because I accidentally found the animated series.
Right on.
And I fell in love with it pretty immediately. I too can back up the claims of the being ostracized at school and made fun of. I remember in particular, I was like, this I loved, and before I found X-Men, I was super into Star Wars. And I just remember it was like 2 years of relentless torment from someone who later became a friend, but as a kid was like, he was really into World War II stuff. It was just like, nothing you like is real. Why don't you like this? It was very odd. But
because it's based on real shit.
Well-
It's got that level of groundedness.
Sure. Well, so for me, it was like once I got into the cartoon show, that was like, oh, there's books about this, because I was always a big book kid. And then I was like, comic books. And I don't know. I was like a fifth grader who was like kind of a snob about comic books. Like, that's like kid stuff. And then I read it and I was like, well, I love the X-Men. Who's the asshole? So I got super into it. And so I can kind of echo this a very similar story that the Jim Lee Claremont combo X-Men came out, or I think it had already been out by the time I found out about it. But I went through that series and then jumped into Uncanny X-Men, little X-Force, X-Factor. And then I dove into kind of like the big classic eras because I had my fifth grade teacher was super into comics. And he I remember just dragging me out to my first con when I was in like 7th or 8th grade. But he gave me a bunch of the old Claremont era X-Men books. And
yeah.
I feel like that's where I learned to write.
Do you still have those comics? I'm curious.
I don't think so. I should look. I mean, I have some stuff at my mom's, but I doubt most of it because I think I gave most of them, if not all, back to him. I was a good boy.
I have a problematic amount of long boxes. I literally have a cube stacked up in a corner of a spare room, as well as like an entire like bottom floor of a carpet just covered in them, and I'm still sitting here like, I don't know what I can do for space.
I know, right? Like that's like every comic book collector's, greatest issue when they have their small dens or their apartments or their, like small middle class, lower class house. They're like, where the hell am I gonna put all this shit? It's crazy, man. Yeah, it also, you mentioned that your teacher was the one who got you into comics. Yeah, that was kind of the same deal with me, and it's sort of where I really started to take off with the X-Men in particular was with my art teacher in high school. It was the second year of high school where the administration just got a new teacher, and we were his first batch. And he was way into comics, and eventually he actually had this massive collection of centerfold, spreadsheets that you would get in the middle of your comic book issues and whatnot. You'd like fold them out and they become posters. Yeah, he had hundreds of those things. Most of them were the X-Men, and he wound up like giving away a shitload. And I
That's
actually
awesome.
had for the longest time a bunch of really cool X-Men posters in my dorm and while I was in college. And I even found a couple of X-Men posters that still hang in there. Like even for like the first year that we spent in our apartment, my fiance and I were like, "What are we gonna put in the kitchen?" I'm like, "You pick," and she went with like a really kick-ass X-Men cover post. I forget which one it is. I think it's one of Wolverine fighting Magneto.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, dude, yeah. So
X-Men 25.
It's interesting that you both mention teachers, because I also had a teacher who didn't. I was already into comics by this point, but he was beloved by me because he was the only teacher who had comic posters up around the room.
fuck yeah, sign
This
of a
was
great
in sixth
teacher.
grade. Yeah, this was in sixth grade. He was our science teacher. But come to find out, his brother actually ended up being my senior year physics teacher.
That's funny.
And they had collected comics as kids. He took over the collection and kept doing it by himself. And apparently, from talking with him and from what I know from my local store where he would also frequent, he has like full runs of like all the Marvel books.
Man,
And I'm just like,
That's awesome.
wow.
that's amazing. I really hope he's got like the big issues saved in like, like in a suitcase with a lock and code and shit like that.
Right.
Because
Well, I mean, man, I gotta tell you, I'm happy I spent the time I did when I was younger tracking down classic issues and tracking down first appearances and stuff like that, because, man, never thought books that I paid like $15 for would be worth like, over $1,000, but a couple of them are. So that's
yep,
that's not a bad investment to have made.
It is fucking cool. So I take it like for this movie in particular, when it came out, when it did, it was like seriously perfect timing. And I want to, because this was a little bit late for me. I didn't really get into the X-Men until roughly about 2004, 5, 6 ish. It was definitely before X-Men 3. Because I was already into the first two films, and then I started watching the animated series. Well, I watched a little bit as a kid, not as much. I was too busy watching Batman the animated series, but can you blame me?
Well, you can love both.
Oh yeah,
okay.
totally.
It's okay.
Although I did watch the entire run of X-Men Evolution, because that was a little closer to my time, which I still love.
Okay.
Like, is that like sarcasm?
No, it's just like it makes sense.
Oh, okay.
Timeline-wise,
Okay,
like why you would watch it.
Because I know there's some fans
have-
out there who are like, Evolution, the original's way better. No, 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 no.
I don't think it's so much that it's I just think a lot of us who grew up on the original just didn't really watch much of Evolution and don't have an attachment to it.
Yeah.
And we also had, for that first animated series, the art style so well matched up with what was going on in the books at the time.
Yes.
That shift for Evolution was a little bit like, what are you doing?
Yeah, there were a
Well,
lot of...
also-
I tried to give it a shot, too. I just remember not liking it. It felt like it was skewing younger, where I felt like the other show tried to have a bit more of a broad appeal. Did you guys ever watch Wolverine and the X-Men from Nickelodeon?
No, I did not.
Oh, guys, it's on Disney Plus. It's legitimately awesome. It's
cool.
one of my... I'm so sad about it because it got canceled after the first season, but the second season they were
Lame.
mid-production on, and they produced something like half the season, and then the plug got pulled, and they were doing an Age of Apocalypse storyline. But they did a cool
wow.
thing, in my opinion, where they like kind of took some established, lore and stuff, but flipped a few things on their head while still kind of keeping that broad overall approach. I thought it was a cool little thing.
Age of Apocalypse may have actually been like my peak time for being into X-Men.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I made a hard point to track down every one of those issues, and it's like so many came out so fast that's like I'm doing so much extra work around the house trying to make money to afford them. It was brutal.
Oh yeah,
Mowing all the extra lawns.
so funny.
Remember doing that as kids? Boy,
Barely.
yeah.
Yeah, while and I did it while allergic to grass, so it was just
God.
nightmare fuel for
Now
me.
that's dedication. Holy shit.
The future.
The future. In a world where there are no more snow days. Boy, that sucks. But yeah, so what was your first major? Because I want to hear about your first experience with the movie as well before we get started. Because I know you two have a story. I know.
I got a good one. I saw it twice opening day. I definitely had happy tears a few times during the first screening because I was just so, something that if you were on the internet back then, I remember reading on these sites for the years leading up to it where it was we'll never get a live action X-Men movie. It's too big budget. It's too this. It'll never sell to broad audiences. And so I remember not being super excited with the visuals of the movie. Mostly in regards to kind of set design suits where it was they went a little too Matrixy for me in a lot of regards. And I think it gets rectified fairly well in X2. But I was so jazzed that when I went back for the second one, I literally spent the entire time between my first screening and the second one figuring out how I could smuggle my video camera into the theater effectively because I had an old Sony Handycam and I was going to tape that shit. And I was oh my God, it was so incredible. I spent all afternoon. I couldn't figure out how I was going to do it without getting kicked out of the theater I always went to. And I was I think that might be a bigger crime than just that. But, I was 17.
That's got to be a real testament to one's fandom. It's a movie that you're actually actively thinking to yourself, how do I sneak in a camcorder to record the entire movie without being seen?
Well, dude,
of course, nowadays it's a lot easier.
Well, another big thing too is that we didn't know it was going to be successful. There was no indicator that this was going to work out at all. So to me, I remember thinking, I'm oh, thank God there's people at the theater. And after that was sort of well, just in case this doesn't do well, again, you have to think in 2000, home video was not the way home video is now, where literally everything of all time is available. Some shit didn't come back out of it.
Kids?
Well, but some shit wouldn't come out if it wasn't big enough, right? And I'm definitely, it was probably exaggerating a little bit at that point, but I just remember really thinking I want to watch this a million times and I don't want to wait. And then I remember the other feature is that when the DVD finally came out, it was right at a time where people were first starting to do special editions and just treat the DVDs a little bit better. So that one didn't get a huge special edition, but it was packaged cool and all this stuff. And I remember it arrived or it came out or whatever the night I returned, or a day or so before I returned from my senior trip in high school.
Awesome.
Yes, I went home and watched the hell out of it. It was so exciting.
I remember getting the DVD, I think for Christmas or one year, and I opened up, the coolest thing was opening the box up and seeing the X on the disc.
Uh-huh.
That was just to see that, holy shit!
So cool.
Fuck yeah! So, and what about you, Sean? Because you said you were around the same age, so I must imagine you were in ecstasy when this shit came out. Because remember, kids, back in the 90s, we were starving for this shit. We were talking about Blade last time. It was the appetizer, and we had to wait 2 whole more years for this shit. So, yeah, go ahead, Sean.
So, I don't have anything quite amazing. I mean, obviously, I saw it opening night. Super thrilled about it. I do remember I saw it, I want to say, 4 times in theaters before it left here.
Right on.
But one of the big things for me was, so I got a job, a new job, right about the same time when the movie came out, because I'd quit my last job. They wouldn't give me time off for senior prom, and I'm screw you, I'm not going to my senior prom, the hell.
Fuck prom. I'm going to see X-Men.
Right. Well, so what was cool is I had a classmate who worked at the store I got hired in, and I didn't realize, because I put him down as a reference, they had a bonus for both of us if I got hired. So I ended up with like a $50 gift card. So I turned around, I bought X-Men and Gladiator with it, and I was happy as hell and just thrilled.
Shit.
And I mean, I will always remember, as he said, they had that higher edge packaging. It's like one of the first DVDs to really do that cool, more unique packaging at the time.
Along with the second the second bonus disc with all the special features.
But it was like the first two I really clearly remember having special packaging was like X-Men and Fight Club.
Yeah.
And my gosh, like opening X-Men for the first time and just it was so cool. I mean, I loved it.
It was that, and for me, X-Men and the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie. It's also the origin of my obsession with widescreen, its history, its use, and its math. Because that was the first time I saw Spider-Man widescreen edition. I'm like, wait, what? That's a thing? There's a full screen wide. I actually had to like look it up online and figure out what the hell it was, and that led into a rabbit hole that I'm still going down today.
We'll have to talk about Back to the Future sometime.
Totes. But anyway, I think we're about ready. We should get started on the movie, though. I think because this is a fun one, for sure, you guys. Okay, so for those of you listening back home, you know the drill. If you've got it on Blu-ray, you've got it on streaming, you've got your own digital copy. If you got it on VHS, I don't know if it came out on VHS.
It was on VHS.
Right? Oh shit! So yeah, if you hardcore fans from back in the day still have one, use it. Why not? Because we're gonna get this bad boy started in 3, 2, 1. Schnick. Little Wolverine reference. I actually do have my Wolverine claws.
That's awesome.
You guys can't. You guys listening can't see them, but I assure you, they're here.
Well, things they can see is watch for the X to be the last letter to fade out here.
Oh yeah, dude! When they did this on 20th Century Fox and the X, right here, whoop,
just a few frames.
Oh, and already you were in ecstasy. And then right away we get the narration, the famous opening narration for Patrick Stewart and
Patrick Stewart's voice tickling my sweet butthole.
This is ear porn for all us nerds, but
and I mean he was the dream casting forever for this role, so we were all so happy when it happened.
Oh yeah, totally.
Sure.
Apparently, he said it was the most fun research that he had because he had no idea who the X-Men were. He thought it was actually an X-Files movie, and they gave him essentially a giant crate of comics for research, and he's like, "This is amazing." So,
I love the design of the door, and I think this opening is so strong. I think this opening sold this for so many people.
Yeah, because I think it was, we were still.
Well, I mean, you have to establish the history of Magneto to understand where he's coming from.
Yeah, and I also am 90% sure this scene alone is what got Ian McKellen in on this, because I know he was really unsure of it, but as soon as he saw the social parallels between mutants and other very real-world minorities. He was like, oh, it's like a longtime activist. He's like, oh, sign me up, immediately.
Do you know that they did some finagling for him so he could still do Lord of the Rings?
That's awesome.
Yes, because he did, because they started shooting in, 98, and they finished this one around, 99, and
there was a conflict, and they started filming 2 months before this wrapped, and so they, and Ian really wanted to do it, so they worked to help him wrap up his parts here a bit quicker, so that he was only a month and a half or 2 months late to New Zealand, and they were still willing to take him for that movie.
Yep.
Because he really wanted to be Gandalf.
Of course. Oh, and speaking of which, you remember Christopher Lee lobbied really hard for the role of Gandalf because he's the biggest Tolkien fan on the planet at the time.
Only actor in the movie who had actually met Tolkien.
That's funny.
But apparently he lobbied. Apparently he was considered to play Magneto
That would have been
which
kind of
would
good.
have been it would have been interesting because I mean, it's honestly it's all in the voice.
Yeah.
That sultry British menacing voice.
He's very fancy. I always loved when he showed up in Star Wars because I felt like he was so perfect, solely cast for the voice almost.
Oh, I know.
I wish he'd been like an Imperial guy instead of a Jedi, but I'm sorry.
I really love the color palette they use here for this scene.
Yeah, it's like it is. There is color to it, but it's almost black and white.
It's like blue.
It's so
Yeah.
saturated.
Exactly. And it so suits the obvious goings on here, right? You know, and it's got that nice blue tone,
absolutely.
so you can tell it's like, yeah. Ugh. It's like I always feel like this is one of those scenes you can kind of feel the mud and the rain.
Yes. Like this is, I feel like the cinematographer was very much looking into Private Ryan, which came out just like a couple of years before this, and looking at like those desaturated colors and the extreme textures. Like, I'm 90% sure that was the inspiration of it because that was such a huge movie at the time. And I love this, not in the too distant future. Even though this movie is clearly set in 2000. And for the record, like, I think we should just like agree, like, as far as the timelines for all these movies and when exactly what year they take place, none of it fucking matters.
Yeah, right.
Like the timeline's so fucked up now, but I'm sure back in those days they had no idea just what a huge explosion of superhero movies we'd get. And of course, we also have our
Speaking of explosions,
yes, I was about to say, like, we've got our second mutant introduction.
somebody's trying to touch Marie.
Yes. Kiss me deadly. But we got Rogan here, which now because I know they
I just had a fucked up thought.
What
Well,
is it?
I feel like at some point, like, Rogue probably learning to control her powers a little bit. There'd be like some form of like her mutant power, but edging, where they'd like try to just suck just enough, life force out of you to like make it interesting. Because that would eventually, your power would eventually become part of a kink at some point.
Oh my
I
god!
mean, that has been covered. It's not with Rogue specifically, but with certain mutants that has been covered in the comics.
That's hilarious. I kept thinking when like, because they did the dual kiss, I was like, oh wait, it's like set the boundaries, and it's like just take enough of your life force for this.
You know what? Maybe you should pitch that to the guys that are doing the
boys.
Right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit them up, Mike. I got a character idea. Hello, Eric Kripke.
Look, I'll tell you, the absolute best idea they could do, they'd have to introduce psychic powers, which really they don't run with in the boys.
That's a good point.
But man, when you found out the White Queen was like 400 pounds and just always projected that she was hot into everyone's mind,
man.
You're like, wait, what?
That would
like,
be awesome.
That was a revelation.
Good shit. Okay, so now we're in our Senate hearing with our McCarthy stand-in, if you will, Senator Kelly, played by Actually, I really like how Bruce Davidson plays him.
I always like the weird gold thing behind Famke Johnson here. In a weird way, it made me think of like odd. Look, it looks like a conspiracy theory picture. You know what I mean? It's like the picture of the Capitol, and there's like golden rays emanating from it. I'm like, what weird secret ritual are they doing in the X universe in this building in Toronto? By the way, funny. Actually, you just mentioned the boys, Tim. The building that they shot these scenes in is used heavily in the boys. And it's the Vought building, and so the top of the Vought building's all CG, but you'll notice that they use this because it has these X bars in the windows. I forget what it is. It's like right downtown in Toronto. But super fun little bit there. I'll yell about it when the X's show up on screen.
It should be like
right after
away
this.
in this next scene.
Yeah, we are the future, Charles. That scene.
And with a very mysterious figure in a hat. walks menacingly out of the hearing.
Yeah, this room.
This is what you were talking about.
So they've been using this as
I
vault.
totally see it.
Yeah.
I totally see it now. Right on. That's awesome.
And I think they only picked it because they were shooting mostly in Toronto. They're like, holy shit, there's a building where there's fucking X's everywhere. Yeah, of course we're using that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Hi, I'm Bryan Singer. I don't really understand these comics entirely. So just put a bunch of X's in this.
I know. That is so... You remember there was a time for even like, all the way back to like 2005, 2006, there were times like even all to that point where the writers and directors of your favorite comic book superhero movies never read comics. Like, comics, those are for kids.
Right.
But I do love this here.
And it was before the age where they actually brought on notable creators to consult and help with the films.
You had Avi Arad doing it, who was just like, I like to make money. Make a movie that makes money.
Fucking weird. But we got to acknowledge this scene because this is the first time Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart got to act together. And as a matter of fact, this movie is how they met. They literally met in their trailer when they were shooting. They started with tea, and then, as Patrick Stewart put, something a little bit stronger in the evening. And they just started to bond at the fact that they had both been in the Royal Shakespeare Company, and they just were like, oh my God, did we just become best friends? We just became best friends.
Hey, quick one.
And now they're...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, and now they're like, the most adorable, not gay, but sort of gay couple ever.
That's awesome.
It's great, dude. I love it.
I wanted to call out the truck driver there. That's a guy named George Buza. He's the voice of Beast in the 90s animated series.
That's totally right.
Oh, nice.
And if you watch the scene back, you'll totally hear it because he totally just He just has Beast voice.
Yep. And speaking of a beast, we've got a caged beast, the one, the only Hugh Jackman, the longest running actor of playing a single superhero. And here he is, like, first starting out. But isn't it crazy, like, here, because, do you know how many people who are in the runnings to play Wolverine?
Well, remember
I like the fact that they have managed to always make him seem kind of short despite how tall Hugh Jackman
super
is.
true.
Oh, I know, right?
They remember they had Doug Ray Scott cast, and he had shooting conflicts on Mission Impossible 2 and couldn't take this movie. Do you know how mad he is? He did the worst Mission Impossible movie and missed out on 20 years of franchise action. Nobody remembers Doug Ray Scott besides Doug Ray Scott.
But to be fair, would he have done the job that Hugh Jackman delivered?
I don't really know him as an actor, so who knows, right? I love.
Yeah, maybe that could have been his big break.
It could have been because Wolverine's a character that I don't want to say it doesn't matter, but if you get somebody that's good in the good part, I think you can still, maybe not to the level Hugh Jackman just fucking owned it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's a very archetypal and basic character, so it's not too much of a stretch to, how do I put this? To really get just somebody moderately competent in there who can do a decent,
like a little snarl,
impression, whatever, and run with
it.
And
look intimidating.
But to really, dive into it the way Hugh Jackman did was impressive.
Oh, for sure, dude.
I know. You actually know what one of his great rituals to get into character, literally it started on this one, and it went on ever since. He took cold showers to get into the role. It
started as an accident.
Yeah, because he's like, he found out like in the morning there was no hot water, and he didn't want to wake his wife that was right in the other room, so he started clenching and just like trying to hold all of his pain and anger in, and he's like, holy shit, this is perfect for the role.
That's genius.
Exactly. I remember reading that in Nick magazine as a kid, like in the early 2000s.
That's crazy.
I know, dude. Like it was awesome. And apparently, even on his audition, he like studied wolves because he thought that was the character. even though Wolverine is an entirely different animal. But I'm not
But it
complaining.
actually works out better because if you read the comics, wolves are probably what he actually has the most affinity
sure.
with, even
Yeah.
though his temperament is more of that of a Wolverine being grumpy and feisty.
Yeah.
He's like a lone wolf, he's a little more lone samurai type. By the way, one thing I wanted to call out in this whole all these Wolverine sequences, I kind of love the sound design because they build it like a horror movie.
A little bit, yeah. Although, you know what's funny?
Because it needs to be scary. Like, that claw scene needs to be scary as shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Although, you know what is kind of crazy, though? Like, even though the build-up's really great, Wolverine doesn't actually kill anyone in this movie. Isn't that weird?
Oh, that is weird. But, I mean, I guess they did it smart.
Yeah.
Or
safe, if you will.
Yeah.
I guess.
I
mean,
really,
this is the first
really,
time.
really, really, really do not see how they're going to do Wolverine in the MCU with how clean and bloodless it is, kind of.
Well, I mean, they are going to go for Blade eventually, so maybe they'll wait to see how Blade does, sort of like they did here.
Well,
let's wait to see how good Blade is going to be, and then we'll do, like, the hard
Look, if
shit.
they want to do Blade right, they need to do, like, Blade tying in with, like, Ghost Rider and the Midnight
They should have
Sun.
they should have a Marvel Knights, like, subset of the MCU that's, like, all of those characters. You know what I mean? I think that would be so awesome.
They should, but the last time they used the Marvel
It was
Knights
Punisher
logo,
Warzone,
it did not
right?
go
Or-
well. Yeah. which made me so sad because I love Ray Stevenson, and to see him used so poorly just broke my heart.
Dude, there is some kind of insanity that I love about that movie, though, where I'm just like, I can't. It's one of those, when they did the podcast, How Did This Get Made? I was like, this is exactly the movie that this podcast should be about, you know? Man.
And now we see Wolverine roaming as a nomad out there, and of course he's got a stowaway. I actually do love that he's just got like a small mini trailer just driving around the snow in Canada or wherever the hell he is. And of course he's got his signature stogie, which is perfect. You know?
Oh yeah. Poking bodies, and she'd be dead in that Alberta cold.
Probably, yeah. I mean, like, the only way is like she probably just sucks some dude's energy dry, and then just use that to sustain her for the back.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That'd be awesome. I always feel like they should do more with Rogue's power like that, and I'm sure they will.
A little bit, yeah. Although it's kind of crazy how much different than she is in the comics, because because you can imagine, like, in the early days when you weren't sure if a comic book superhero movie taken seriously was gonna work out, and you have a team. You're starting off with a team where you have to establish all of these characters and all of these people and give them all, like, their moments and shit. But so I can kind of understand why they've kind of taken Rogue's character and also mashed it with Jubilee and Kitty Pryde and all, like, a whole bunch of the characters that we know, and mashed them into one character.
I think they did a pretty good job of handling her character. I feel like this is, I mean, it's definitely true enough to, like, a pre-Carol Danvers attack in the books,
For sure, yeah.
Cool note here. Those dog tags you see are the actual standard dog tags that they use for the Canadian military.
Oh, that's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a history buff, and I was like, oh, cool. They actually kept the dog tags Canadian. Like, that's actually really cool. And it's, although it's
that
weird,
actually really makes me wonder, because I haven't really delved into the books in so long, and with the political correctness nature that the world has headed towards, I wonder if it is now verboten to call him the Knucklehead.
Maybe, I don't know. I guess if you have that kind of a sense of humor,
That was like, and not for any reason other than I always thought it was a weird name. That was always my least favorite nickname for Wolverine. I was like,
I actually agree. Like, I thought it was just like, too, but, like, then realizing, like, oh, like, it's a play on a slur for Canadians. Oh my gosh.
it's
Jesus.
I'm gonna have to look up how Canuck or whatever became the expression.
I do
That's
love the
what the
little
show's
moment that
about
they
now, by
have.
the way.
I do like that little moment that he has. Like, does it hurt when those things come out? And he's like, every time. There's actually a lot of really lovely gravitas that Hugh Jackman likes to bring in. Although one thing I have to ask, how fast was he going? Because dude, he really fucking flew out of that thing.
Yeah, it's movie logic.
I guess.
Well, but also if you don't brake at
Yeah.
all and you suddenly have a hard stop.
That's a good point.
yeah, but that
35 miles an
I can
hour is
see
still
him-
gnarly to get tossed at.
I guess. I mean, it's just like in the middle of the snow, you'd be like going, what, 40 tops?
In Canada and places where they actually get snow all the time, everybody knows how to drive on it. So it's not like here where everyone's doing 50. You know what I mean? I feel like I feel like this makes sense.
Okay.
To go back to your comment about the claw thing before, what I thought was really interesting is that was the first time, as somebody who was like at this point obsessed with X-Men for almost 10 years, I had never thought about that at all. Like there was never
Really?
a moment where I'd been like, oh, I wonder if it hurts him when he pops his claws out. Because, he puts on the show that he's indestructible, right? Because he kind of is, but you
Yeah.
never think that his mutant power isn't, my pain receptors also don't work.
See, I'm really surprised you hadn't caught that because this is well after Fatal Attraction, and that is actually dealt with. The pain of it is dealt with after his adamantium
It's ripped
gets
off.
stripped.
And thinking about that, but like I never thought about him just using his claws as being a moment of pain. You know what I mean? Because it's, you know what I mean? That's yeah. Dude,
okay.
Fatal Attractions. Oh my gosh, man. Don't get me too
Yeah.
hyped.
Oh, shit. Now we've got on screen for the first time Wolverine and Sabretooth going at it.
I wish they'd bring back Liev Schreiber as Sabretooth. I thought that was a good combo. That Wolverine movie sucked, but I was like, oh, you're good at this. Because this wrestler guy they have that's just sort of like, they didn't write
He's
a
just
part.
kind of there.
Yeah. They're like, we needed a 7.5 foot tall, angry looking guy that we could put,
Like
prosthetics
a wig
on.
and
I mean, to
fur
be
on.
fair, that does sum up the majority of what you need.
Oh,
for
absolutely.
Sabretooth.
Yeah. Oh,
And we
man.
got Cyclops and Storm. Oh shit. We're about to see some more
It's like,
characters.
can you be a dick? Are you tall? Can we give you fangs? Sabretooth.
Oh, speaking of being a dick and height jokes, so James Marsden, who plays Cyclops here, he was actually a lot shorter than he's supposed to be in there. Like he's supposed to be a little bit taller than Wolverine, but since like James is only about like 5'11", 5'10", he had to wear platform shoes or be on an apple box half the time.
That's hilarious.
And it's funny. Well, it's funny because the platform shoes, I'll point them out when.
They,
when it
Ellis
happens, but
Island,
there's, like,
right? I think when
Yeah.
they get, you can really see them there. Yeah.
You can see. But apparently, as a joke, the guy playing Sabretooth, Tyler Mane, he actually left him an apple box at James Marsden's trailer with a note saying, "This is for you to get to the top shelf in the sink."
That's great.
I love that shit.
You know, I don't know if any of you have been paying attention to the news this week, but apparently wearing platforms in superhero shows or movies has become a proud tradition.
Oh
If you see the
yeah, with
Homelander pick.
with the guy playing Homelander and the boys.
Oh,
He's
for
like,
sure.
you got to be a little bit taller, so we got to give you platform shoes. Can they be heels?
Yeah.
They don't have to be. I want them to be heels.
I love
yeah.
Magneto's lair here. I always thought I was always so
I
geeked
love
out
the
by
mutant's
the
cradle.
Yeah, exactly. I always thought that was so cool. I was like, what a great idea. And it's such like a
Right?
cool, like super villainy James Bond kind of vibe, but with superpowers where it's like everything's metal and it looks like he just shaped it to his own will. And when you see him,
I love that little move there where Sabretooth grabs the dog tags because it just shows like he has a grudge and he's gonna hold it.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Too bad it was really fucking disappointing for Origins. Like the best part about Origins is the title or is the opening credits. Like the opening
I don't
credits
know what
sequence.
we're talking about.
Good point. Well, maybe it's best just to stick to this movie. Oh shit! Wolverine's awake, and he doesn't know where he is, as always. Just constantly in and out of this shit. But although then again, being poked around in a lab is not somewhere he wants to be again. Oh man,
It didn't end well the last time.
yeah, exactly. But dude, I forgot how cool the Xavier's lair and underground lab looked.
Oh yeah.
Like as like an actual set like this. This looks actually like legit.
Oh sure. I just thought of something sort of silly. I noticed this before. So back in the day when the first trailer came out, right? Because that was all over the internet and that was the easiest way to see things. But the internet was like shitty then. I remember they had the trailer, and in the trailer you saw him running down the hallway a minute ago there when he still had the little whatever those readers are from Jean Grey in the hospital. But I remember people were literally positing like, oh my God, what are those on Wolverine's chest? And then I remember a few fan sites were like kind of had a rumor going that it was like ports where his adamantium had been added in. And then I remember seeing the movie.
Cool.
I always thought it was like stupid and silly. And then when I saw the movie, I was like, yeah, of course it was those things. You know what I mean? And so when he tore it off and he looked normal, I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh man, weird piece of trivia.
Yeah.
What's up?
Bob Hoskins was considered for Wolverine.
Oh yeah, I know. I read that.
How
I'm
weird
like,
would that have been?
That would have been fucking weird. Because apparently, like the big studio choice was Russell Crowe, but he's like, I don't do comic books. Like that's just a cartoon. And plus, I already did this movie Gladiator, where the character's kind of similar.
Right.
So I'm not gonna do it. But also another thing about Jackman that I just remembered. We saw him earlier just, without his shirt off, and he's still the jacked man. But it's weird that in the later movies he's even more jacked.
Yeah, in this movie he's just like in good shape. He's not like super ripped. He's just like a fit man. And by like 3 in particular, 2 he's bigger, but by like 3 and the Wolverine and all the offshoots, he's like a monster.
Holy shit! Like you see him in the beginning of Days of Future Past, and you look at him like when he pops the bullets out in that one apartment after they.
That right there, I was just like, oh my gosh, they gave us a Kitty Pryde cameo.
Right?
I was like, ah.
But yeah, man, it's so weird. Like 15 years later, and he actually looks better. Oh, dude. How cool it is to see Patrick Stewart in that wheelchair. It's actually crazy. The wheelchair still is around, and apparently was bought at an auction by Patrick Stewart's attorney, and they actually had to rent it from him just to have it appear in the sequels.
That's actually pretty awesome. Can you why? Like, I guess they were always trying to return that shit after the fact, but.
Yep.
Man,
I imagine.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you first.
No, please. No, you.
I'm going to totally take a different train of thought, so I think you should finish first. Otherwise, I'm going to just go off the rails.
Well, no, I want to go. I want you
well,
to go
then,
off the rails.
Why the fuck isn't there more Cyclops in this movie?
I mean, I guess like the argument is like there's already so many characters and whatnot. Oh, I do love this little bit right here where he's like, "You're Cyclops, you're Storm. What are you called? Wheels."
Oh yeah.
Because apparently the original script line was, "What do you call Baldy?" And Hugh Jackman's like, "That's a dumbass line. I'm just gonna go with this better," and it wound up making Final Cut.
Oh yeah, they like leave it in.
Yeah, exactly. Because there were so many writers on this movie to begin with. I mean, Andrew Kevin Walker had a script.
I would have loved to read like a version he wrote by himself. I love Andrew Kevin Walker.
Yeah. But tons and tons of different writers had a whole bunch of it. Like, oh god, I know Christopher McQuarrie was in on it for a little while, and
Joss Whedon.
As a matter of fact, Joss Whedon doctored it a little bit, although apparently they told him like it was too quippy and too reliant on pop culture, which is so fucking funny considering where we are now.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love seeing
do-
all of these like little mini character cameos, like Wolfsbane there and the Jubilee. You're like, oh,
Yep.
and
Like,
the
holy
other Kitty
shit.
Pryde, right?
Yep. And it's like, oh my god, it's like, Cyclops training on the fields of Xavier Mansion. And all these mutant kids in class are doing this stupid shit that only they could do during the middle of a class. Like, how cool is that?
Too cool.
I love that.
Hello, CW's John Allardyce.
You know what's actually funny? Sean Ashmore right here, who plays Iceman. The funniest thing happened when I was watching season 2 of The Boys. He's now
Lamplighter.
lamplighter in season 2. Thank you. Which I'm like, oh my god, he went from Iceman to basically being Pyro. He is.
I didn't even realize that was the same actor.
It
until you
totally
just said
is. It totally is. I'm like, oh my god, it's Iceman from the X-Men. This is hilarious. And I'm positive, like, there were a bunch of jokes on him.
I love the fact that they kept the Blackbird design like spot
Yes.
on.
Oh,
for this.
yeah.
Yes.
Because the
Although,
jet's cool.
I'm actually curious because the Danger Room doesn't actually appear until X-Men 3. So, were you guys kind of disappointed by that?
I remember there was a early promo for X-Men 2, like when they were in the beginning of production, where the promo visual was supposed to be of their design for the Danger Room. And I remember it was just really quick, and then they cut it from the script. Like, they were still at that phase. But yeah, I mean, and even the one you get in X3 is not really cool.
No, it's not. It's actually really disappointing.
Yeah.
I really didn't mind it not being here, but that's because it was one of the things where I didn't know that I didn't think they'd be able to do it well, particularly
At $50 million.
with them having not dipped their toe so much into comic book movies of this level.
No kidding.
So I would rather they stick to stuff that they could, knock out of the park than take those kind of risks that while I might want to see it, it's like I'd rather they play it safe because I wanted more of this.
Right. Although it's just like it's because it's already so jam packed, and I was actually surprised, going back to this, that this movie is only a little over 100 minutes long. Like it's so crazy because we're used to seeing 2.5 hour superhero movies these days.
Yeah, they keep it tight.
And it's weird to see one this tight.
Yeah, because now they wouldn't have any issue with this movie being long and you could do all the characters justice.
Yeah. I mean, nowadays you can get away with a 3-hour comic book superhero epic.
Yeah, but at the same time, nowadays they make sure they actually have consultants on board who can make sure they actually know the characters and know the books and are putting together a cohesive story that works.
And money, because this was actually fairly cheap.
Yeah.
Like, it was only $75 million when usually big
Well,
tentpole ones
I mean,
are like
gosh.
upwards to 100.
I mean, I have to say, thank God for Fox because this came out by Fox and it was
Here we
only 3 or 4 years after Marvel had declared, Chapter 7
Yep,
bankruptcy.
I remember
so-
that back in the 90s. Oh, man, dude. Mystique. I love this first line. Oh. I kind of wish that voice filter was kind of consistent because that almost disappears, even through this movie.
I always thought her design was weird, but I understand why they did it.
Yeah. It's a bold move, certainly, to have like this,
Oh, more of his adamantium ports.
Yeah. Because it is kind of a crazy thing in retrospect. Although, man,
I just realized how in the world are they going to do this scan when it's shown that later that adamantium is magnetic? You can't go in there.
That's a great point. Well, I guess we just have to
yes,
imagine
this
this is some weird not MRI thing that Charles Xavier has movie magic stuff.
yeah, it's movie magic bullshit. Because I imagine, like, I mean, they're already talking about accelerated, genetic mutation and shit like that. So there's already a shitload of pseudoscience. So this kind of bullshit really doesn't bother me at all. But I do love the X-ray scans and how you get to see, like, the actual adamantium rendered onto his skeleton, particularly with the claws. Like, that's actually a lot of fun.
Sorry, just loving this scene. Who did this to him? That's a plot
Right?
point for a future movie.
Several future movies.
Literally the entire goddamn franchise. Why is there not more Cyclops in any of these movies?
That's
You
actually
sound just like my buddy who is the proprietor of Neverending Radical Dude. He's a huge Cyclops fan. Like, we met freshman year of college, and that is an argument we always had. It was just like, he was always like, too much Wolverine, not enough Cyclops.
If for an ensemble movie series, they definitely, when Nickelodeon at least had the decency to name that show Wolverine and the X-Men, I was like, that's what they should have called these. Because it's definitely like the Wolverine show first, and everyone else is also there.
Yeah.
And I'm not mad about it. They're still enjoyable for sure. I just always wanted, like, I hope when the MCU happens that Cyclops is fucking awesome.
Yeah, totally.
And I just...
Who would you actually have him play?
What's that?
Who would you have play Cyclops in the MCU?
I think I really want...
5 years down the road.
I think I want Armie Hammer to play him.
Ooh.
I think Armie Hammer would be good. I feel like he's got, like... He's a good actor, which is half of the battle. He's not super successful, but you kind of have seen him in stuff. So I feel like he's like kind of a good get. While Marvel, like, it's like one of those things where like, so yeah, Disney's tried a couple times to make him be a thing, but with like a good character that's established, he'll be reliable in the part. I think. I think that's one of my takes for him. I
would not have a problem with that if they're doing like classic Cyclops. Sure. But I would definitely not tap him if they're going to try and go into the deeper, more complex stuff that they've done the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, that's a good point. I kind of just, it'd be cool if they used Grant Morrison's new X-Men as like a jumping off point.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So it's like old and new all together at the same time. I want an ugly Wolverine. That's what I want. I know it sounds silly, but I want an ugly Wolverine so bad. Like, so bad. I know it sounds so stupid, but like the Bob Hoskins thing, I'm like, that's better. But like, not, I think it, like, Wolverine needs to be weirdly attractive, in my opinion. Like, you need to not look at him and be like, yeah. But then by the end of the movie, you're like, why am I saying yeah? That's how I think the vibe of that guy needs to be.
You know what character appearance and like portrayal I think would have translated really well to Wolverine? Yep. John Rhys Davies Gimlet.
Yeah, but yes. You know what I mean? Like, you're
right.
John Rhys Davies, you're not necessarily, like, I wouldn't walk up and be like, damn. But then you just, like, cut up an entire army of something, and, you know what I mean? You'd be like, oh, there's something I'm weirdly turned on right now, John Rhys Davies' Wolverine. So here's my little dorky secret right now is that I write a lot of spec scripts for obvious reasons. So I've been like slowly but surely bolstering my X-Men spec script for the last like year or so. And it's like one of those projects that's always kind of constantly gestating because like, I realize I'm not at that point in my film career that I'm like, this is a thing. But at the same time, I'm like, who knows? But I have a couple of really great scenes in there that after the show's over, we should chat about because I don't want to sell my ideas, But you talked about the Danger Room, and I have a great Danger Room idea that I really think is, like, so fun. So, anyway.
Oh, man. Yeah, we can't have anyone stealing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
They made it this far.
Yep. And then now we have a little bit more of the the love triangle between Wolverine, Jean Grey, and Cyclops, which... it's actually. Have you guys ever seen the Pete Holmes sketches of the X-Men EX?
Oh yeah.
Those are fucking funny, but I really love like, oh, what do you? Where Professor Xavier? I'll put a link in the description for you listeners out there because they're fucking funny.
Oh yeah, Pete
but
Holmes,
essentially it's just skits of Professor Xavier just being a dick and firing all of the X-Men one by one.
That's good.
And Jean Grey's like, he's like, oh, are you always going to constantly dick around with Wolverine and Cyclops? It's complicated. Oh, thank you for reading your Facebook's relationship status. God, I love this shit. Although it's funny because James, this is like the first instance where James Marsden kind of becomes like the weird guy who turns down the love interest for the protagonist, so called, because he did the same fucking thing in Superman Returns.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I always felt like the way they portrayed Cyclops in this is like a dick, but not in a way that like I know Cyclops would be like annoying, like not annoying, but like frustrating to work with.
Yeah,
but
he's
not
he's a dick, but he's also a Boy Scout at heart, and it's really difficult to work with, but you know at the end of the day he's in charge.
Well, I mean, I never really got dick too much from him until like the recent comics where they really went, they're like, oh no, he's like a scumbag mutant terrorist now. Somebody at Marvel hates Scott Summers really fucking bad.
Well, you know, I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that's with where they had gone with the character and what he had experienced. I think that the arc they took with him was, you know, he kind of became the next Magneto. Like, he suffered so much trauma and damage that's just like, nope, like, I'm done. The rules have changed. That's it.
And by the way, yeah, totally agree with that. I love the new stuff too, man. Like, a new jumping off point for me was all new X-Men. When that came out, I was like, what a fun and clever idea here, that the only one that can save Scott is younger Scott, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Oh
yeah. And I mean, yeah, I thought that they did a lot of interesting stuff with that book, and I was a fan. It was one of the first times in a while where I'd gotten back into X-Men for a bit because they just did it so well.
Oh, absolutely. And it seemed like a great love letter to the old books, to the new book. It was like all eras kind of got represented. I thought that was so great.
Mm-hmm.
How about Storm's incredible Caribbean accent in this, everyone?
Oh, I know, right? Like, this is the only one where she actually sports an accent.
Can you imagine
that you kind of gave up?
Can you imagine coming on set and you're like, this is the voice? You know, whatever she's, you know what I mean? You're like, what are you doing, Hallie?
You know, what I was going to say here, which is really funny, had it not been for John Wick 3, this is totally where we'd be having the conversation of, whatever happened to Halle Berry?
Oh, I know, right? Because, like, you know, she decided, because this was her first superhero role, and unfortunately, she later did Catwoman. You know, okay, for real, guys, like, I want to just announce to the whole world that I really, really, really fucking want to have Halle Berry on this show to do a commentary with me and watch Catwoman.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
Because I know she's a really fucking good sport about it. I mean, she said yes to half the shit that she did on screen, and then she accepted the Razzie Award.
But, I mean, remember, though, the kind of paycheck that comes with that stuff. I mean, I'll never forget, you're familiar with Ice-T, correct?
Yes.
They paid him, allegedly, according to him, they paid him, like, I think, like $1 million to be in Tank Girl. He's like, I'll dress up like a kangaroo, sure.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the same thing with Patrick Stewart with the Emoji Movie. You can give a man awards, you can give him a knighthood, but nothing compares to the power of the paycheck.
I love all the little cheap tricks here. Like, when that scene cuts from this big open waterfall room, but when they cut in, it's just a black cloth background behind Magneto and Sabretooth. Like, just one of those clever little, like, it's almost like stage design, right? Like theater stuff.
Yeah.
To be like, well, we don't have the budget really to do the background we just showed you in the CG shot, so.
Yep. And apparently, like, you know, Bryan Singer didn't do a whole lot of, you know, effects-driven stuff before then. I mean, the whole reason why he was hired on is because of the big success of, Usual Suspects. So he wound up going to the sets of Titanic and The Phantom Menace to get an idea of how to do an effects-heavy kind of movie. Learn some lessons from the masters. So, yeah. And you know what? It kind of pays off because, like we said before, this is kind of a lower budget movie. Like, it was only $75 million because, you know, like I said, they just had no idea like that this would work or not. I do love this. Like, you have failed me.
For the last time.
A little bit of a Darth Vader bit there. Oh, I thought this scene was always so weird and creepy.
Oh yeah. I remember. Is this the first official cameo coming up?
Yup.
Definitely of the tentpole Hollywood movies. I mean, he'd had a few. Oh, I love that was freaky.
Yeah.
But he'd had some cameos in like the Doctor Strange movie and the Incredible Hulk made for TV movie. But there he is. It's the man himself, Stan Lee.
I will say though, one of my favorites though, of Stan Lee cameos, is always going to be, even though I'm not a huge fan of the movie overall, is in Captain Marvel, just because it canonizes his Mallrats performance, and I was just like, so happy.
Yeah, dude, because for the longest time, like around the time he died, and this is before Captain Marvel came out, I always said my favorite Stan Lee cameo is in Mallrats. Like that's it. Like the weird caricature of himself is phenomenal.
But it's also really cool though, his cameos in Fantastic Four, because he plays a character he created.
Yes, that was really great. And I also loved him in Guardians 2, where he became where he went hung out with the Watchers. Like that was amazing. And he also got to play J. Jonah Jameson at the very, very, very end of Into the Spider-Verse, which is a role he's always wanted to say. He's like, if you could play any one of your characters, like even all the way back to the 70s, like they were asking him, if you could play a character that you created in a movie, who would it be? And without breaking a beat, he would always say JJJ. So it was really cool to see him play that. And oh shit, it's Mystique.
I like that Wolverine has like a built-in like adamantium unibrow as well.
Like it's not exactly coated, but it's just like patterned.
It looks like it's carved in. Like there's a stroke. Like if he rubbed his forehead, there'd be like a little groove there. You're like, why is there a weird adamantium groove? Ugh.
Oh, this is so cool. First appearance, cinematic appearance of Cerebro. Oh, this is so cool.
I always thought the way they did the effect in this movie was cooler than the other ones. I never know why they went away from this.
I guess they're like, because I think it might have been from the visual effects artist or the visual effects supervisor, because apparently even though the dude like almost wound up getting nominated for an Academy Award for this work, he actually really thought they were subpar for the time. He was just really dissatisfied with that, so maybe he was like, no, let's really up the ante, let's try something a little bit different. So that's probably why.
I think they were smart by cutting the effects in the script level. You know what I mean? Like they were smart to make it like an ensemble talking movie where there's just like 2 action scenes.
Yeah. Well, there's like, a couple of action beats here and there, but there's ultimately like, like there's only like 2 or 3 like big action sequences.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I
love that shot.
Unfortunately, one of the downsides of access to all the data we have now and market research and data analysis is that they try to tailor everything to make it like as appealing and successful as possible, even though that might not be a good thing. It's like they're only chasing the dollar. They're not chasing the quality of the art.
Yeah. But that's just Hollywood at the end of the day.
Holly Wolf.
Or Holly Woo if you're a BoJack fan.
Holly Woo.
Oh, dude, I also forgot how much I used to want Wolverine's jacket. But I actually found out a few years ago that there's actually a website called Logan's Closet where they sell his jackets and a whole bunch of other, like, high-profile comic book jackets. Like, they have the Terminator jacket. They've got Bane's coat. They've got Captain America's World War II jacket and shit.
I just love the fact that it was Cyclops' motorcycle that he stole.
Oh, of course. And I also love that it's got like a turbo mode that should have killed him instantly. Let's be honest. Like, because does he even have like a light going? Because he's driving around in like middle of mountain roads in pitch black. Like that's like the
yeah,
second.
I don't actually. It's been too long. I'm not sure if he has like night vision, like nocturnal.
I would just assume in general, since all of his sights are kicked up, that he probably does.
Yeah. I mean, if I was even if I was driving that thing out in the middle of the day and I hit the turbo mode, I feel like I would have like immediately gotten into an accident. And not just like automatically woo 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 go through all that shit.
Well, he's Magic Man, dude.
Yeah, movie bullshit. But
right.
I digress. I do like this little back and forth between him and Rogue, and how it's clearly sort of like a surrogate father-daughter relationship, sort of, or maybe like a just an uncle or whatnot.
Oh, shit. He's about to turn into Animorphs, because I think that was the show he was on.
Sabotage!
That makeup job is so brutal. I mean, it's
know,
brilliant.
right?
I mean, it looks great, but man, like, what had to go through for that to happen?
Yeah, apparently she had to stand up for 9 hours to get that thing applied. Plus, she had to be under specific conditions with her body, just so her chemistry didn't change and would keep and prevent the custom pieces that they glued on her from falling off. She also had like these, because a lot of the eye effects in the movie are practical, like they're actual lenses that they made for the actors to be put on. Yeah, man, like that must have been rough. Because even worse is, like Rebecca Romaine, who plays Mystique, she actually was pretty much isolated in her makeup because her look was like a huge big deal of a secret to be kept. So like she was like almost completely separated from him. Although something that I found out and I read I thought was fucking hilarious is that towards the end of her shooting, or on the last day of her shooting, she actually brought a bottle of tequila, which she gave to the cast and crew. Unfortunately, it happened to be on the day when she's fighting Wolverine, and in the many acrobatic shit that she was doing, she threw up blue-colored vomit all over Hugh Jackman. Yeah. Oh, that shit was crazy.
I mean, the real tragedy here is that I haven't seen that as a deleted scene.
I know, right? You kind of wish that was a thing, but
for sure.
although I did hear like she did because it was such a long process to put on and off, she always had a glass of wine on her.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, this moment here. So this kid was actually invited on because he was a huge X-Men fan and Cyclops was his favorite, and he literally could not like hold back his smile, so they just added that little moment in.
That's so great.
I know, right? Can you imagine being a little kid being on? And well, actually, it's probably best that you're not a little kid on a Bryan Singer set these days.
Yeah. Probably back then too.
Yeah.
I think the only effect I
Big
don't
ol-
really like in the movie is Toad climbing up the wall.
Oh yeah. Although we still haven't pointed out that's Darth Maul, everybody. Fucking Ray Park.
Killing it.
I know, right? Oh shit. You done fucked
And they're like,
up.
all right, here you go. Here's a lightning scene and then a Matrix camera move.
Oh my god, you're totally right.
Where they tried to do. They did it there. They did it with Jean Grey. Picked up the little bottle earlier, where they were like it was 2099, right? Everybody was like super influenced by that movie.
Yep. Yeah. it was actually kind of an annoying fever at that point, especially like especially by the time the sequels came around.
Oh sure.
And then I think by the time the sequels were over, everyone was just like at the time like, oh, enough. Oh, this is such a cool practical effect. Like, Hugh Jackman actually just thought the door was just gonna like burst open, not the entire car, like just rip apart through hydraulics. So he's actually like some of the surprise in his performance is actually genuine.
That's so awesome. Yeah, I love this scene. Ooh.
Ow. Ow. Ow.
I like that you see
You
the
know,
little screws in the bottom of the claws.
Yeah, right. You know, you almost you're almost like, oh man. It's to the point where you actually kind of wonder if Magneto can just rip his claws right out of his body.
Yeah, I would assume he does in Fatal Attractions. I mean, he rips everything out.
Yeah. Nice shot. Just casually strolling through.
You know, that alignment of cop cars on the lawn reminds me of Terminator 2.
A little bit. Although Magneto don't need no damn minigun.
True.
Also, can we talk about how cool they actually were able to make the helmet design?
Yeah, I'm always shocked I don't see more of that Magneto helmet, like in cosplays and because it's like super simple. It's like regular PLA color, so you could almost just 3D print the whole helmet.
I know, right? Cosplayers, get on that shit.
Is it two pieces?
What's that?
It's two pieces, right? Yeah.
I think so. Oh, I also love how Toad has Cyclops glasses on him. Oh shit, motherfucker! Because you're right. Because I forget that it really is just one solid color. Because especially in the later movies, like the prequels, they really went a little bit too tacky for my taste. Like they gave him the weird eyebrows and shit.
Yeah.
So I love the reference there, with the number on your forehead. It's a reference to an island where they used mutants as slaves. I can't remember the name of it right now in the comics.
It's just Genosha.
It might have been. I just love the fact that they put in all of those little references.
Totes.
In this movie.
For the fat comic nerds in the theater. I love this. Like, dude.
And it's funny because all these effects that they're doing here with the guns is probably mostly just easy practical shit.
Yeah.
With the exception of a couple of the
invisible-
close-up shots. When you do the wides, it's like, all right, fishing line, and
Yep.
But you know what I mean.
Old-fashioned Invisible Man techniques. That's the other thing I think that gained a lot of credibility to the script and to the the approach of these is that they clearly were, going off the popular allegory of, Magneto is basically Malcolm X, and Professor Xavier is Martin Luther King Jr.
Right.
I do love that one extra's performance, though. Like, when he touching the forehead and, like, where he's just waiting for, like, the bullet to actually go in. Because, as you saw, that thing was pressed up, like, right up against him. Like, in later movies, like, they have the telepathy blocking helmet, and you're like, were you guys ever wondering, like, oh man, how cool would it be if we ever got Juggernaut?
So you know what I always wanted with Juggernaut? I never wanted him in a big scene. What I always thought would have been cool for X-Men movies, and if I ever got to make one and then make a sequel for any reason, I would definitely do this. I think the X-Men movies need to have cold opens like James Bond movies. And I think they need to have an opening sequence with, like, a C-tier villain like that, right? Like, a Juggernaut's a cool character, but he's, like, not a story character. He's, like, heavy. So it would be cool to have a story that doesn't really focus on the Juggernaut, where it opens and he's, like... Let's say you open the movie with, like, a training sequence and all of a sudden alarms are going off. They're like, what the fuck? And it's like, someone's breached the perimeter. And then it's them... having this, like, insane... Imagine fighting the Hulk in a mansion, right? And then at the end, they subdue him, credits, and then the rest of the movie happens. They're like, phew,
I was actually kind of expecting, as such a big fan, to actually kind of incorporate, the fact that he's brothers with Charles Xavier and that sort of thing. Because they'd also throw it out the window in the, the sequels.
Yeah, I feel like... I mean, the thing is, it's like... The typical characterization of Kane Marco is sort of like this, like, dumb brute guy, and, like, I just imagine Patrick Stewart, like, trying to do a bit with Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, like, that's like that, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, Xavier, you got all the money, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And, like, I just feel like it wouldn't play. Like, you could still do some stuff. I just cannot imagine, like. Compared to some of the other X-Men villains and Magneto and stuff, there's nowhere near the depth, I think, to mine from a character like him.
I mean, I would agree there's nowhere near the depth, but there is fun. I mean, like, the time where it's like he kind of had an uneasy truce with the X-Men, and you see him getting drunk with Wolverine. I mean, that's gold.
For sure.
Like, those two belligerent asshats getting drunk together, that is story gold.
Awesome. Oh, man, I
do love the fact that in the dream sequence, Patrick Stewart has a chance to stand up.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's, like, technically on the astral plane, sort of, maybe, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's, like, he's looking into his memory. So that he can figure out how the hell that this guy got powers.
Something I will say, my dearest dream for a comic book movie, which will probably never happen, there was a Spider-Man Punisher team up at one point.
I feel like I remember that.
And Spider-Man gets knocked out, and Punisher just picks him up by the ankle and is using Spider-Man's body to beat people. And, like, later, when Spider-Man's awake again, Punisher's like, oh, no, we had a team up. It was great.
Maybe. I mean, we've gone to some crazy places, like, in the in the 20 years after this. I just realized this movie is now 20 years old. Isn't that fucking crazy?
It is crazy.
I actually do love his kind of redemption arc that he kind of gets. Like, it's that whole idea of, like, turning your being turned into the one thing that you hate the most, and then you finally get have just enough time to understand and realize that that hate's just wrong, and that's just the one of the core messages of the X-Men.
That is true.
Because
Like
this whole
acceptance.
conversation, this whole conversation where he's like, "Do you hate normal people like me?" And she admits, like, sometimes, just because it's awful, but I learned to live with it. Although this whole sequence actually is kind of awesome, even for then.
Yeah.
This isn't half bad.
No, it's awesome.
Yep.
What do you mean for then? I mean, I have seen modern movies that don't have effects half that good.
Especially that
Good point.
transition there.
Yeah, that transition is seamless. Although apparently they wanted to go a lot more gruesome and like mid-transition, they wanted to have his organs and like dissolving bones towards the middle. Yeah, they really wanted to get nasty, but they were like, we're gonna play it safe because again, we still don't fucking know. So, but yeah, still a really cool death though.
One thing I will say for sure about this movie, just the way they do all the aesthetics. I mean, from the costumes to the mansion to everything. Even if it's not how you wanted it in the books, everything looks slick and polished and well designed.
Yep.
And that's so important.
So true.
Yes.
Yeah. It looks like a much bigger budget than they had.
Mm-hmm. They actually tricked us, and and see when you see Patrick Stewart with his Cerebro headpiece on, it looks like the comics. Like that's probably the greatest compliment you could give, and especially at a time when we still haven't been legit. Like movies haven't been legitimate yet, truly legitimate. Like that was a really big deal. Like the only two big ones. I mean, obviously Mark and I talked about Blade being one. It's just like super under the radar, which is sad because that movie's actually gotten a lot better in recent years. But like the only ones that we had before that were Tim Burton's Batman and Richard Donner's Superman. Oh, it's still funny because Richard Donner is actually an exec producer on this movie too, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, because Lauren Schuler Donner is the big one, right?
Yeah. And apparently, he mentored Bryan Singer to keep the verisimilitude of the series and the characters.
Oh no, Jean Grey, don't do it.
No.
Oh
no,
no,
don't
this is
do
where
it.
Jean unlocks the Phoenix in this universe.
Actually, I think it might have been Andrew Kevin Walker's version, actually no, it might have been Joss Whedon's script. But apparently, like the Phoenix was supposed to be the cliffhanger.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I also love how this whole movie has been building up like all these world officials. This will be the single largest gathering of world officials in world history. Like, what could go wrong? Like, how convenient. And they essentially turned Ellis Island into basically like the most heavily guarded island on the planet. But I do love the whole climax takes place in the Statue of Liberty. So do you guys remember the Statue of Liberty playset that came out at the time?
No.
Okay.
Vaguely.
I had a friend of mine whose dad worked in toy companies, so he actually had a shitload of toys, like his prototypes and early stuff, and early bird packages and whatnot. And one of the coolest and biggest ones in his room was the X-Men Statue of Liberty playset. It was the head and the torch, and they both open up where you could put your action figures in. And it even had the mutant machine in there too. And I was always fucking jealous of it.
Damn.
Nice.
Oh, come now, my child. This plan will be nothing without you.
I love how everybody talks in these movies.
Right?
They've all got that, you know.
They've all got the crazy accent. Although, it's funny because, technically Ian McKellen shouldn't have his British accent, but I don't care. It's Ian McKellen. He can keep it. It's like Benedict Cumberbatch. Don't ditch your natural native British tongue. Don't try an American accent. Your natural one is perfect.
Right.
But, when you think about it, Magneto is like, German Polish.
German Polish. I love this look for the map
plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a cool thing. And it was like, I feel like this was such an interesting, cool effect that I would have liked to see more of in future movies. But then in the next movie, they did everything with holograms.
Yep. Well, I mean,
Like,
that's...
I like this, but at the same time, it always just kind of reminds me of, like, did you just build one of those giant, like, needle things that you always play with your hands? Like...
I want one of that.
Yeah.
I want that in my house where it, like, magnetically pulls shit up.
In accordance? Okay, and then we got to talk about this part here.
Oh, yeah. Wolverine with his Astro A50 headset ready to play some Fortnite.
And in his leather outfit.
Yeah.
But that line, oh my gosh,
Right.
that line.
Oh my God! So there's a really wonderful video essayist by the name of Captain Christensen with K's, and I'll put this in the description for you guys. But he did a video essay on the X-Men and their color and schemes and their color scheme and their costumes and whatnot and how important it is, and it's a wonderful little watch to really understand just like, yeah, these like costume designs are actually kind of important. And besides, these superheroes that are all about, overcoming social prejudices, it's actually funny because nowadays it's more relevant to wear a colorful, crazy outfit for to show your pride, like that's Pride Month,
Right.
like even the color schemes of Cyclops and Wolverine, they have the same colors, they're just palette swapped to show that they're diverse like that. So, but I'll link in the description for that little video essay because it's a wonderful little thing. Oh shit.
Oh, man.
There is a storm. And a couple other mutants as well. Okay, so this is, you remember this is the moment where you get to see the platform shoes on Cyclops, right? There.
Oh, yeah.
There they are.
Oh, my gosh. That is very
It looks
obvious.
like he's in Kiss.
But apparently, like, they had the hardest time getting over that barrier because of the costumes.
It was like the first day they shot in the leather and it hadn't been stretched at all.
Yep.
So, yeah,
So,
I always thought that was great, though.
I think James Marsden actually said you could not feel less like a superhero wearing those things.
That's really funny.
I also love this gag here
Yeah.
with the metal detector. But I also love that gag comes back in Days of Future Past, where it's before he had the metal, and love that shit, the middle claw. But yeah, dude, like when he
This
goes
is
through
so
it.
cool, though.
Oh, this moment, yeah, where it's just like
That,
with the
you're
eyes.
just like, oh! Yep.
So good, dude.
I didn't think she could turn into inanimate objects. So that was always
I
like a
guess it's-
shocking scene.
You know, I guess it's kind of Terminator 2 logic. It's like, no, it's only equal to size.
Well, it could also just be like, all you have to do is have seen anyone in that outfit ever.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Oh shit. Well, I love the kiss where she's like, that's where you know it's her.
And the little extra bit of clank when they get kicked in the balls, I thought was awesome in the sound design.
Yep.
And by the way,
God.
so when he cuts off the claws, what did he cut off of her?
I don't know, but whatever it was, it must have been really painful. So I forget, are they in like a museum or a gift shop or something?
There's like a little
wonder-
miniature, a small museum at Ellis Island for
Okay,
the
'cause
Statue of Liberty.
I've been to the Statue of Liberty and I've been to Ellis Island. Granted, this was like several years after the fact, but I never remember seeing anything quite like this. I do love this bit here.
What I always find hilarious about this movie is that it was just like, I remember watching it, I was like, man, what a bold decision to actually try and make Toad a badass, because never in the comics ever. Like,
Right?
Yeah,
he
that's
was
such a
actually
good
supposed
point.
to have like a big hunch too in his back, and but they were like, well, if we've got Ray Park, who's an actual martial artist, let's change it up a bit. And I actually kind of like the change.
Well, I love the change.
Yeah.
I'm here for the change.
yeah, I mean, I have no problem with it just because I'm just like, man,
wait,
you actually
Darth
made
Maul,
him into
dude, that's
something
Darth
of a
Maul
badass.
right there. That's fucking great. I love that shit.
What were you saying, Sean?
I was saying, like, they effectively actually made him something of a badass, which is like had never happened with that character. So it's like, yeah, everyone's going to love the change because you're like, oh my gosh, he's not pathetic.
Right, for the
Oh,
first
speaking of
time.
change. That's a cool
Oh,
shot.
and that shot has always been one of the key amazing moments of this movie.
Oh, Jesus. Those are some trailer shots right there. And I also love what she does here where she cracks his back. Right there, that was the ball clang. Wolverine literally has balls of steel. Love it. Like, dude, for real. I also love the sound design. Like, she actually moves and she doesn't make any sound when she lands, and it's very cat-like.
I especially like this little slink upwards thing she does here.
Right? Yeah.
You know, Wolverine's like, eh.
What the hell? Boy, that shit must have tasted nasty. Okay. This moment right here. I actually was shocked to find this is one of the few Joss Whedon lines that actually made it into the final movie. And you guys know which one I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. I actually have one of those small Statue of Liberty statues you just saw flying from when I was like 8.
But, oh my god.
I always liked Whedon's explanation of how he wanted the line to be delivered.
Like, it was supposed to be campy and stupid.
It's supposed to be like kind of like corny and funny. You know what I mean? Where she'd be like, you know what happens to a toe when it gets struck by lightning? And he's like, eh. And then she's hits him with the same thing as everything else. You know, like real quick, almost like Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But Halle Berry was like, no, I'm going to play this serious.
Like wildly
And
serious
it
with my
just-
terrible Caribbean accent.
Oh my god! Like, what was that? But I actually was like, that was a line by Joss Whedon? You're kidding me!
When you think
So
of it in that
strange.
weird context, I feel like it makes a lot of sense.
Oh yeah, it makes a lot of sense in his context, but when you put it like that, it's like, why did they keep that shit? Nice. Also, Halle Berry was like the one person who really could not stand the eye contacts, so she insisted her eyes specifically be CGI'd. Yeah.
I guess he does stab one person, but look how clean her stab wound was.
Yeah, it is pretty clean. Well, it's clean. It's just really deep. I love that. Okay.
Perfect delivery. Perfect delivery.
And now we got our big finale going up. And it's actually kind of cool. Like, they made a replica set of the Statue of Liberty, although they made it 1.5 times bigger. Just, because if you've ever been on a film set, it gets very crowded.
Yeah.
Very crowded very quickly. So you want a little bit of extra space for that kind of shit. I also do love the way that they set up with Cyclops, where they've got her pointing his eyes right at her, and they take off his glasses. Like, that's some good shit right there. Also, this is some dastardly shit right here, too.
I like how they kind of try to do, like, reverse Jim Lee Wolverine costume. Have you noticed? You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of got the little spikes up top, but it's black and yellow versus, like, yellow and black.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
Ooh.
I'm actually kind of shocked that he didn't, like, just break his glasses right there and then. But then again, we kind of need that shit for later.
Yeah.
But for me, it would have been interesting to see them try to, play up that. What are all these all these world leaders doing here anyway? Is this like a giant celebratory thing or something? I forget exactly what the context is.
Do they even tell you?
Isn't it where there's... Yeah, I think it's where they were actually meeting to discuss what to do about mutants.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
okay. Okay, yeah, so, oh man. Boy, then that just makes Magneto's plan that much more dastardly.
Yeah.
Speaking of Magneto, I love the shade he threw, like, a minute ago, where he's just like, don't you live at a school? Like, he is just so much like, you people, like, how are you this incompetent? Like, Charles wastes his time with you?
Oh, for sure. Like, and you can tell he is so, like, just generally frustrated by everyone all the time. I kind of love that. Because he's so above it.
I think we can actually kind of say that as far as comic book superhero villain movie roles, Ian McKellen just might be the best villain up to this point.
And Magneto's a great character, too.
Yeah.
I had to bust out my Cyclops visor.
Oh my god, I just saw you put those on.
I totally forgot I had this.
Dude, totally take a selfie of this so I can share with everyone because oh my god, I am in fucking love with it.
I'll have to do it after the show because my phone's on the other side of the room.
No worries, dude. This is you guys on the Facebook page will probably have seen it already, but and if you haven't liked my Facebook page, please do so. It's under CommTrack Podcast.
I'm the disheveled, angry Scott Summers right now.
Yes,
I'm a leader.
I do. I love how he gears up to him to the pain. He's just like, okay, let's fucking do this. Fuck yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, fuck man.
Although I still am not sure how that got him out. The physics of that doesn't quite make sense, but. Honestly, Hugh Jackman is so intense that I'm willing to give it a pass.
Yeah, he's like, slice through a bunch of things. I feel like Magneto shouldn't have even set it up so it was a potential for him to go.
Yeah. Should have poked it. That's not what I meant by poking him with a stick.
Oh, so fun fact here. Hugh Jackman fell off one of the... Oh, wait, is this not the one? When he falls off and has to catch his claw on the side of the ear, he legitimately fell and the harness fucked up and rocked him in the nuts so obscenely early that they were like, the scream is real in that take because he literally...
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it. I remember hearing about that. That man. Because, people always think acting is really glamorous. It really isn't. You're you're waiting and waiting and waiting for all these shots to set up, and then you have to go, sprint, make sure you nail all your shit, and, get into the pathos just as everything's going. You have to do all these amazing, incredible physical things where you could, very easily get hurt. I love that shot, though. But yeah, acting is really hard.
Something we brought up earlier, we were talking about their portrayal of Rogue here. And the main reason for Rogue being done the way she was that Fox did not own the rights to Miss Marvel.
Yes.
So they couldn't use that backstory or put that in.
Yep.
Which is why they had to retool Rogue's character for the film.
Well, maybe now that, Captain Marvel and Carol Danvers is a thing, maybe...
Oh, no, don't get me wrong. Like, the second they bought Fox, that was the first thing I wanted. As I said, I'm not a huge fan of Captain Marvel. I'm like, oh, please, let this happen.
Do it.
Bro, come on.
Oh, man. I'm telling you guys, ugly Wolverine, that's what we need.
Right.
Hashtag ugly Wolverine. I got to make that happen. That's going to be my next
yes.
famous person poll that I do.
Do it, please.
Ugly Wolverine. We had Hugh Jackman. No one can do the role like him. You don't want another beautiful guy. You want...
You know what? Is Ron Howard's brother still
perfect.
acting?
Yeah, call Clint Howard and ask him to be ugly Wolverine.
He's hairy enough.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really trying to think of someone I would have in the role. I don't know who.
Did you know that we almost had an ugly Wolverine back in the early '90s with Glenn Danzig?
Oh, that would suck. He's weird. But I
wait. Like, did you say Glenn Danzig?
Yeah.
Like the singer?
Yeah.
Like Misfits?
yes, yeah.
Oh my!
Everybody just wanted him to do it because he was like in kind of good shape and he was little and angry.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you're not wrong. Well, he's also out of his mind.
I think he would have been a horrible actor, though.
I mean, I love him. I mean, my gosh, the Misfits are amazing, but only with Glenn Danzig.
Granted, though, I am really happy about Hugh Jackman because, when Wolverine was kind of conceived, he was kind of a James Dean, Clint Eastwood kind of archetype. And the fact that they've got literally the closest thing to a young Clint Eastwood lookalike now. I mean, dude, if you look at Hugh Jackman right now, he is exactly the spitting image of Clint Eastwood in his, 40s and 50s.
Oh, yeah. One of the things I liked in the previous scene, and we just missed it, but I always feel like, and I think Bryan Singer probably said this at some point, but right after Jean, holds him up in there and, helps him land, she kind of, stares at herself like, holy shit, I can't believe that just worked. But I seriously think that in this, if they had kept up and, it was Bryan Singer that had his through point, I feel like he would have tried to call back to those events, like when Cerebro fucked with her. This moment here on Ellis Island, and they kind of refer back to it next too.
Yeah.
But it's almost like they planted the seed in this movie unknowingly.
Mm-hmm. I also love that this is the event that gives Rogue her white streak. Her very famous signature white streak.
I love that stand-in for Ian McKellen, by the way.
Oh, I know, right?
You can tell from, the huge head of hair.
Yeah. Well, at least it's not as obvious as his fight double in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah. Well, what did everybody expect?
Oh, exactly. Although if you really want to see, the most obvious double for a classic Shakespearean old man in a nerd franchise, it's Count Dooku.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Take my power. Heal again. Take some of my angst along with it.
Give me that soft light on him.
Yep. I actually just remembered the music was done by Michael Kamen, who had absolutely asked none ideas about X-Men in general. Like, he had no idea who or what the X-Men were. So he just kind of decided to play it straight as like a, like another epic drama.
Sure.
And in a weird way, I guess it works. I mean, his X-Men theme, the dun no 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 no, it's not bad, but I still kind of wish that they went straight up with the theme from the animated series, just no 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 no, but orchestrated. Just like, can you imagine like
MCU's
an orchestrated
gonna
version
do
of
that the way they did the Spider-Man.
That's true.
They probably will. They'll probably like do some. They'll at least call out to it at some point in the movies.
Oh, I hope so, because, dude, that, like, even to this day, like, that is probably one of the most cool thing to come out of the 90s.
Yeah.
That's, you know what? I'm actually going to admit this to everyone. The classic X-Men theme from the Fox Kids show, that is my ringtone.
That's fun. Yeah.
I also love how they kind of, flying off into the night. But I also love how they kind of, set up Mystique as she changed her form to look like just like a normal security guard.
I like the guy too. He's like, this one's alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, your coworker doesn't have a name.
Like, come on, John, didn't you check his tag? Oh, speaking of future stuff for the MCU and possibility of X-Men joining them, apparently, so like they're really gunning hard trying to have Keanu Reeves join the universe somehow.
Yeah.
For a while, I actually thought it was going to be with like not Black, Adam Warlock, but
Cool.
Apparently. He's actually said if he could play any Marvel superhero, he knows he's not going to get it, but if he could, he really wanted to play Wolverine.
Yeah, I could see that.
I think he'd make a great Gambit.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. Sport like a Cajun accent and shit? Hell
No,
yeah.
I wouldn't let Keanu Reeves try to do a Cajun accent at all.
He is notoriously not the best.
Yeah, I would be like,
Yeah,
no, just
But
give me.
He has the frame, though. He has the frame and
Yeah.
the look, and I know he could pull the attitude
sure.
off. It's a matter of the accent.
I would almost just tell him
Yeah.
not to use the accent. You know what? I would actually honestly do? I would just sort of, for the sake of the movies, overall, I feel like this is really the move, unless they're going to cast a dude who's actually legitimately incredible at dialects. They should just give him a Southern voice a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, just
I
a
wouldn't mind
little,
that either.
Yeah.
and I always think back to one of the first times I was ever seriously impressed by a Keanu performance was in Sam Raimi's The Gift. And he had kind of like a country boy accent, and he was like a really scary, intense character. I was like, damn, I never noticed how fucking scary Keanu Reeves was.
He actually kind of had a bit of a Southern accent as well in Devil's Advocate.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, yeah. Get him.
So-
It just might work that way.
I think they probably won't now because he's probably too old. I feel like whoever's going to get
Probably.
Gambit's going to be young.
It's kind of like the whole thing where he was supposed to play Spike Lee in the Cowboy Bebop live action.
Right. You know who I would like
But,
to see play Gambit, I think would be an interesting pick, is
Shoot.
Taron Egerton.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
the
think
guy from Kingsman.
he's got the physicality. I think he has the charm. I actually, more than anything, like after seeing him in some other stuff outside of like easy things like the Kingsman movies, I really, I think he's got the talent. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I think it'd be I think that would be cool. I don't know if he has any interest in doing that.
I can see
Everybody's been like fanboying him into Wolverine, but I'm like, no.
No.
And
he's
like,
too young.
again, he's a good actor, but like, again, also he's like too handsome to be Wolverine. We don't need another handsome Wolverine. Hashtag ugly
we need an
Wolverine. Ugly Wolverine, everyone.
guys.
I'm telling you, it just needs to be someone that looks like me, but in shape. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not good looking. I'm just fucking hairy and shit. But if I'm very angry, and if I were in good shape and murdered people. So one of the things I will say in my script, because I always felt like Disney would never let you do something fun with Wolverine, like murder people.
Yeah.
Every time I have a kill scene for Wolverine, it's always off camera, and it's just the blood splashing onto the onlookers, like a little flex. And I was like, I don't even know if they'd let you do that, but I figured that was the safest bet. I kept thinking that was a good way, like call him in. He's the angry guy hiding in the mansion, smoking a cigar.
Dude.
I have that set.
Yes.
Do you?
Dude. Magneto and Professor X playing chess. I love this shit. You know what's actually fucking crazy?
What's that?
Neither of these two actors at the time knew how to play chess.
That's hilarious.
They actually had to bring in a chess master to teach them, which I thought was hilarious. I'm like, dude, really? You guys have done Shakespeare for years.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised. They had to. These are two men who have spent a lot of time mastering their craft, and I can see why they wouldn't have time for that.
I still wonder if, like, they actually play chess in real life now.
Yeah, that's all they
like
do.
anytime they're, well, I mean, because like they're famously best friends,
Right.
so I'm really wondering if they actually do play chess with one another, whenever they're like at each other's houses or whatever. It'd just make their relationship that much more wholesome.
Fuck yeah, it would.
I do love that. Beware, Charles, they're gonna come for your children in the night, which they totally do in the next one. I also really love the design of the plastic prison.
Oh, so cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the way they get him out of there is so clever too in the next one.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, that's probably one of the reasons why X2 is, like, even better.
So here's a question. How far away is all that shit that's watching him? Do you think he can reach that?
I don't think so. Like, I feel like they've encased him so long, and it's I don't know.
Screenplay
Honestly,
by
it's just
David
like-
Hayter, by the way, the voice of Solid
Yeah.
Snake.
Yep. Although, like we said, like, so many writers were in on this.
It's
like,
so weird that
there were a
he's the only
lot
one that
of
gets the
them.
credit.
Yeah, well, I think it's because, Christopher McQuarrie was, like, the other major contributor to the script.
Yeah.
But he was just so fucking fed up with the studio going back and forth and shit.
Sure.
That he was just like, you don't even have to credit me. It's fine. I don't, because I'm just tired of this.
Right.
So that's why he received Solo's credit, and DeSanto and Singer were given story credit.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah. Oh, and like I said, Michael Kamen, again, had no idea. But yeah, that's the first X-Men movie, and rewatching it with you guys, how's your perspective changed, or has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse?
I don't know that I can make too much of a call on that. I mean, I still really enjoy it, but the flaws that were there are still there. But again, I understand it from the context of when it came out, why some of those needed to be there, why the choices they had to make were necessary to make this a viable movie for the time period.
Yeah.
Honestly, my biggest takeaway from this is more in the fact of, everyone keeps talking about, like, Disney bought Fox, Marvel has these characters again. And I am 100% on board with, like, I do not want to see the X-Men in what Marvel is doing with the MCU. And by that I mean, I want the X-Men released under, like, the Dimensions
Like a
headline.
like a two worlds collide meeting sort of storyline.
No, I mean, maybe I have the studio wrong. Like, the title they use for more intense adult films and for like horror movies.
Oh, okay.
It's like I want it like I don't want the X-Men toned down. I want to watch Wolverine rip someone in half. I want Deadpool like cursing all over the screen and like being a sociopath. Like these are the things I want from X-Men. I do not want them sanitized for children like most of the MCU is. I don't want PG-13 on the X-Men. I want hard R.
Oh, right on. Okay.
I don't think I'll ever get it because they want to tie in all that toy money.
That's true.
But
Well, you know what? I mean, right now Umbrella Academy is making a huge splash with the show that they're doing,
Which is
so maybe do it in that format.
Discount X-Men.
I mean, it's a possibility, and at the same time, I'm just kind of like, I wouldn't even be that mad if, because I mean, there's so many characters to choose from. If they took like a smattering and put them in the MCU, but like, take Wolverine, take the X-Force people, like, take the harder edged characters, and like do it as a series, do it however you want, but like make it hard R, you know. Heck, do the reboot that they did with X-Force, where they were basically the assassins of the mutant world, like assassinating any threats to mutant kind. Like, I'm here. I am here for that.
I think.
And what about you, Mark?
And rewatching it again, I mean, yeah, I kind of think I echo the same sentiments. It's fine still. You know, it's what it
It's
needs
just
to
fine.
be. In hindsight, I wish it was more, but I also, again, recognize where we were, and I cannot overstate how elated I was to be in the theater July 14th, 2000. You know, it was literally a day I remember pulling. I mean, I was obsessed, dude. In my scrapbook, I literally had pulled out pictures because it just didn't seem likely that you'd ever get more of these, and it was always that thing where, because of how Batman and Robin did, everyone was like, one failure and we're shutting this shit back down again. So it always felt like is this gonna happen? And then with Spider-Man, with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, it pretty much like cemented like, nope, this is a new juggernaut.
Yeah, this is the new era. I think because I remember, you know, because I had grown up a lot with the original Stan Lee, Steve Ditko comic books with Spider-Man, and when the first one came out, that was kind of like a cementing era. Because I think we can all agree is like Blade is what kind of really set it in, like got our attention. X-Men is like, oh, this actually might work, and then Spider-Man with Sam Raimi is like, yeah, this is a new era.
Sure. Yeah, it's like this cemented it.
Dude.
And then Sam Raimi was willing to be like, no, let's get a little weird. Let's get colorful. You know.
Let's keep that stupid Green Goblin costume.
Yeah, that's...
oh,
shit.
ouch.
Well, it is stupid, but, you know, I have, like, a weird soft spot for it. But I guess we'll have to talk about that when, you know, the time comes for Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
You know, all I'm going to say is that Weird Al said it best. He's scarier without it on.
Well, it is Willem Dafoe, so like it is some pretty, like he knows how to be like Dafoe of the movie.
Womp womp.
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
That makes me want to end the whole show now.
Shut up, you guys. I mean, come on. Like, 2020 is dealt way worse shit than that.
Well,
has it?
Wow. I didn't think you were that.
Dude, you give me that kind of opening, I'm going to take my shot.
I'm just really glad everybody's been incredibly honest.
Oh, my God.
You guys.
Jesus. But yeah, man,
well, next time, let's do Pride of the X-Men, the cartoon.
Well, wait, is that like an actual movie?
No, it's like a 30-minute pilot episode done by the G.I. Joe animation team. It's got Stan Lee as the narrator, and it's like a lot of the G.I. Joe voices doing a short. The animation's awesome. Wolverine is Australian, and it's hilarious. He calls Toad a dingo. And it's, I mean, if you guys, I'd be serious, we could do one. It would be funny and worth it. It's definitely on YouTube.
Shit.
And the thing is, you'll watch it. It's not bad. And I don't know if it's just I have a soft spot because it was like, at a time where the X-Men cartoon was just airing and it was hard to get home video of TV shows. That was available. And I was like, oh, this is sort of shitty, but it's not super shitty.
Oh my God. I actually, for the take 3 or season 3, I actually have something special for Fucked Up February. And
is it the 1996 Generation X film?
I won't say it here, but when it comes, we might get to pair it with that. We might have the first ever twofer.
Oh shit!
So that should be
Twofer Sutherland.
But yeah, so well, at least that's. I mean, that this will be it for Marvel Movie of the Month with Mark for this year. And for this season, God, it's already been a whole season. Time fucking flies, doesn't it, when you're having fun watching movies together. But we will be back next year with you, Mark. We're coming back in January after taking a break. Because, I think we all kind of need one in after 2020. We all just need a little me time.
Of course.
Oh, yeah. Also, I just realized... This is the first time we haven't seen the Marvel logo before or after the movie. Well, we saw it just there at the very end of the movie, but we didn't see the famous comic Marvel Studio logo.
It wasn't in Blade either, was it?
I don't think so. No, it was just
that. It hadn't become a thing yet.
Yeah. Wow. Isn't that weird? Wow. I gotta look up and figure out when the first use of that was, because it's so it's almost like seeing that Marvel Studios logo. It's like coming home for us geeks.
I'm honestly wondering if the first time was Iron Man, because that's the first time they did it themselves, where it was not owned by Sony and Fox. I'm not sure, but
I thought they did it for didn't the Sam Raimi movies do it?
Yeah,
they might have. I'm not sure.
I think I'd seen it as early as Daredevil, but I could be wrong.
Ooh, yeah, maybe.
I'm gonna have to look that up. If anything, you cats in the comics section can just blurt it out, it was this movie. Why don't you know? Yeah, just total. That's my impression of all YouTube commenters, which
not inaccurate.
But is there anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up?
I'm good.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been another really fun Marvel Movie of the Month. I guess we'll actually only have one episode left before this season's over. It's crazy, but we will catch all you listeners back for our on Thanksgiving for our Thanksgiving special, and we're doing the only movie that could be shown for as a Thanksgiving special for this hellscape of 2020, the classic Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Nice.
I'm really excited, you guys. Yeah, and I just have to, especially not only that, but I also grew up in Chicago, so that trying to get through going through hell to get home to Thanksgiving for Chicago just feels appropriate for 2020. So I guess we'll see you guys next week, and on Thanksgiving we're actually going to be airing it on Thursday, not our usual time at Friday, so be on the lookout for an early episode. It'll be good. It's big take 2 finale. So I've been Tim.
Excelsior.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
I love a little Excelsior action. I'm Mark.
Enough said. And this has been another episode of CommTrack where you'll never have to watch a movie alone again.
Goodbye
Peace.
forever.